There have been repressive efforts on psychedelics that have been really for the last 1600 years or so. So the last time that psychedelics were fully integrated into Western culture was around 396. And that's around the time that the Catholic Church suppressed the Eleusinian mysteries. And they were in Greece. They had been going on for about 2,000 years. They involved the psychedelic drug, and they were about direct experience of the death rebirth process, the direct experience of nature and of our own mortality, but also the own precious nature of the time we have when we're alive. And that was suppressed by the Catholic Church. And since then, through the Middle Ages and onward, was the burning of the witches, who many of them were familiar with plant medicines and were healers. And then when the conquistadors started coming to the Western world, the first people they tried to kill were the shamans, who worked with peyote and mushrooms and all. And so we had a kind of resurgence of interest in the psychedelics, particularly in America in the 60s and also in Europe. And then that became the whole youth generation became involved with psychedelics, and then were very motivated to protest the Vietnam War and other things. And then the research was suppressed for multiple decades. And then starting in 1992, the FDA said they'd open the door to research again. So we're sort of 30 years into this psychedelic renaissance. And there has never been a time where psychedelics were completely suppressed. And a lot of times they were really kept alive by indigenous communities. The Huichol Indians in Mexico were one of the few groups that were not conquered by the Aztecs. And they had a culture centered around peyote, and they moved way back up into the mountains to try to stay safe. So I think there's just a lot of things that we can learn from indigenous cultures who've kept these traditions alive. At the same time, though, we need to adapt these traditions and these experiences to the modern age, to things that really will appeal to people from a more Western scientific culture. Although to look at our culture now, you could say that there's a lot less faith in science, a lot less faith in truth. But I think that the obligation that we have is to really look at the wisdom of the ages, look at the wisdom of the indigenous, and then try to modify it for what we're currently experiencing.